This is Tim Willis recording from the fabulous Ghettowood Studios, and today we're going to be looking at another one of the little tools that's very helpful for us to analyze websites we may be, or cell phones we may be trying to model. And it is called the CSS Peeper. So it is a little different than the color pick eyedropper we have looked at before. It gives us more information, but it also will give us the colors. So let's go ahead and take a look at the CSS Peeper tool. So we're looking at the same challenge funnel template I've been working on, and we saw this in the color pick eyedropper video, and we're also going to use it for CSS Peeper video. Now, CSS Peeper is also, like the color pick eyedropper, a Google Chrome extension, and you can pick it up at this page right here, and it's free and doesn't cost you anything, and it's very commonly used by people who are modeling web pages and need some basic information on fonts, colors, and things like that. And it sort of fits in the range between the color pick eyedropper and the Windows Dev tool. And so it is sort of the more advanced than just giving us colors, but sophisticated than the Dev tool. Here's how we use it. We're going to go to our Chrome extensions and choose the CSS Peeper. It will load up here in the upper right hand corner. And for default, it's looking at the whole page and just giving us a little bit of information that's not really too useful. But it has three modes. It has a general mode, a colors mode, and an assets mode. You can see the icons at the bottom. Let's go ahead and go to the general mode, which you're already in. Now, how this works, because ClickFunnels 2.0 and ClickFunnels Classic is set up in a structure of sections, rows, and elements. And so if we go out here, if you see there's a little pinkish line, when we do that, we select that, it's going to show us the information on the section. And so that is going to come up here. We can see here's our section size, and there's no padding because the section is the biggest component. If we come here in this area, actually this area here, then that's going to take us to our two column row. And we can see here, we can see the size of the row. We can also see the padding outside the row. And then if we go even further here and choose one of the columns of that row, it will give us size information on that and the padding. And then if we choose an element within the row, in this case in picture, it's going to give us the picture and give us the file number for the picture and the size of the picture. If we go to this other column and choose the text, it will tell us about the text. First of all, it's going to give us the color, which we can copy from right there. And then it's going to tell us the font, which this is Roboto Slab. The font size is 30 pixels. The text is aligned center. The line height is 39 pixels, and the letter spacing is 24 pixels. And so it gives us that information. If we go down here to another element, it does the same thing, except it tells us that this is got slightly different font, a different color, and so forth. And so that is what you can do on any section of the page, and that will give you that information, and use all that to figure out things like if you wanted to model a web page that looked like this, find out the colors and the fonts and the font styles they used. And that is it pretty much for the general section. Then we can click this back arrow, go back out to the main panel, and choose colors. Now what colors will do is give us a list of all the colors on the page, and then also sometimes it will give us the opacity used too. And we can copy any of these colors with this little eyedropper icon individually, or we can export all the colors. But if you export all the colors, it's going to download that into an Adobe Swatch. We can only open up in high-level Adobe programs like Photoshop, Illustrator, or InDesign. And we'll look at what happens when we export information from CSS Peeper in just a little bit. Alright, so that's about it for colors. So let's go back out and go to our assets icon. It looks like a camera. CSS Peeper will try to capture all the images that are on the page. It's not 100% successful at this, although most of the time it is. And then it's going to give us also an export option here, but it gives us the export all at the top. And so when you export all, it puts them in a folder called assets. And that's basically all there is for that, and that's basically what CSS Peeper does. Now, as I said, let's look at those assets we downloaded. Okay, so I downloaded these earlier, and we have a folder called colors. And here's what happens when you get the colors. You've got an Adobe swatch, which, as I said, can only be used in higher level Adobe programs. So that really, if you don't have a Photoshop or anything like that, really not going to do you much good. Then assets, it gives us a folder of these assets. Now I'll warn you, when you unzip the initial assets folder, it's going to not put them in their own folder. You'll have to put them in a folder manually later on. But in this case, it's downloaded 7 assets, and 6 of them are either JPEG or PNG images. Then this one that has the Windows icon is an SVG image, which is a vector rather than a pixel image. And to see what it's going to say, you can either put that into ClickFunnels into an image element. I'll tell you what it actually looks like. Or you can try converting it to PNG or JPEG using a program like Canva, or there are other ones. I've found that that's about 80% successful. Sometimes it works. In fact, most of the time it works, but sometimes it doesn't. But that's a way of getting the images off a page, and you can use them as you want. Now, all these images on this page are images that I created and came from royalty-free sites like Pexels or Picabay. So there's no really copyright issues going on here because I've created those images. Go back, and that's basically what your downloaded folders will contain. So really, that is about it for CSS Peeper. It's a handy tool to have. It sits in the range between the colored pick eyedropper and the Windows Dev tool, and will allow you to get some basic information on colors, fonts, and other page elements. So this is Tim Willis, and this is ClickFunnels and Click Designs, and I'm going to go ahead and call it a day on this video, and we'll talk to you later.